Hey guys, it's Coach Belcher. I just figured I was do a little video to kind of explain what we're doing for the meet this week. We will be at St. Clair County High School. You probably get off at the Leeds Moody exit and go left, and then you just stay there for a while, and then you'll come up on it. It'll be on your right. The girls race at 9:20. The boys race at 9:50. Plan on getting there an hour early. So if you race at 9:20, try to get there by 8:20. If you race at 9:50, try to get there about 8:50. The reason for that is sometimes you get lost, you miss a turn. Parking, you might plan to get there an hour early, but it might take you a few minutes to park. Parking at this meet is okay. It's just you might have a little bit of a walk down to where the tents will be set up. And it's more important for the races that are further away. When we have some afternoon races, so next week we'll race Thursday at Hewitt. I'm trying to see if we can get a bus for that. So I'm going to ask tomorrow on Monday if maybe we can get a bus. I think if we can get a bus, that might be nice, just to have parents not have to drive all the way up there early. But if not, I'll let you know Monday if we need drivers for that. But if we're racing at Veterans Park, which we'll do a few times this year, and we have one at Oak Mountain, those are all pretty close. You don't need to get there super early, just because you'll kind of know where you're going and they won't be too packed. But when we go to Chickasaw, Jesse Owens, it's a good idea to get there early, because parking can be crazy and traffic can be crazy, and you don't want to drive an hour up there and then you realize that traffic's going to make you late. Like, don't plan on getting there 20 minutes early and then traffic makes it late. Because once you get there, you need to put your stuff down, you need to use the restroom, you need to get your bib number, which we'll get to in a second. You need to check the course out, all that stuff, okay? I'd rather you get there and have a chance to kind of take it in before you go. The course is grassy. It's in the middle of the race is kind of lonely. So the way the course is set up, you as parents, you can just sort of stay at one spot and you'll see the first 600 meters or so pretty easy without having to go anywhere. And then you'll be able to see them towards the finish. So this one's a decent one to watch, especially for the start and finish. Next week is somewhat similar. You can see the start and finish, but it's kind of lonely in the middle. This one's kind of tricky because you're out in the woods, and no one's going to know if you're walking. Now, if you are 10th place or something when you go in the woods and you come out and you're in 50th place, then obviously you're doing some walking. But it's a little over it's about 2.1 miles. It's slightly over 2. Not all of our races are going to be 2 miles, and that's because the start and the finish for the high school races is 5K, and so the finish is always going to be the same because they have everything set up there. The start's almost always going to be the same, and so sometimes it's a little hard to make the distance exactly right. Sometimes it's hard to cut out some of the course to make it. So this one's 2.1. I'll send out what everybody ran last year to know kind of what to aim for, so everybody can see how much they improved. And I expect everybody that ran last year, they'll have pretty big improvements. Shoes, if you have spikes, this would be a good one for spikes. You cross a road for just a little road, so for just a couple seconds one time. Otherwise, you're pretty much on grass or dirt. So if you have spikes, those would be good. You don't need to get spikes. If you run in regular shoes you practice in, that's fine. I would not suggest going out to buy spikes unless you know that you're going to be running pretty fast. The reason is, if you are taking a bunch of walking breaks, if we'd have to do a 2-lap warm-up and you're walking on a 2-lap warm-up, spikes are not going to be the thing that's going to make you run a lot faster, okay? So even though you can get spikes on eBay for like $10 if you want, I would suggest not getting spikes yet. Now, some people want to get them, that's fine. They do help, they do make a difference. But unless you're running pretty consistently all the time in practice, that's not going to be the thing that makes you run faster. So I'm not going to tell people not to get them, but I don't want people to get them because we can't really practice them because we have asphalt all over the place. and concrete and all that, so we can't really train on them too much. Uniforms hopefully will come in this week, so I keep checking. They should come in. If not, I've got about 25 uniforms from last year, and we can probably make that work. And track, it's not as much of an issue because you can trade uniforms. Whereas in cross country, everybody, all the boys are running the same time, all the girls are running at the same time, and even if a boy didn't have a jersey, theoretically he could borrow a girl's jersey that finished the race, but that would be pretty gross. So we should be fine with uniforms. So I'll let you know when they come in, and if they don't come in, I'll say Friday, hey, if they're not in, we'll have to be a little creative, but we should be fine on those. The next important part is at every meet, every athlete that's registered has a chip. So it's a little about 1.5 by 1.5 square, and you will zip tie it to your shoes. Make sure you don't zip tie it to the shoes you warm up in if you're going to wear spikes. Okay, you zip tie it. Make sure you tie it the right way. If you zip tie it the wrong way, it'll come loose. And that's how they determine your time. So when the gun goes off, and then when you cross the blue mat at the finish, that's how they know how fast you ran. Okay, so if you're going neck and neck with somebody, if your foot hits first, that actually would determine that you ran faster according to the chip. But those can be expensive. Make sure you don't leave without getting rid of those or giving those to us, because everybody's got one. So we'll know 838 is Jimmy, and if we see that everybody's chips back except for 838, we'll know it's Jimmy's. And they charge us I think it's gonna be $35 this year for any chips we don't return. So we need to get those chips in. They should match your bib number. So usually Ms. Gleason will help with that at the meets, and she'll be calling out, and then some parents help too, and they'll call out names and bibs and all that. That's another reason it's good to get there early. You can't just go to the start line and start running. You actually have to have a chip on your shoe and a bib, and you want to have time to get that set up. Snacks. Miss Burgess has sent me a sign up Genius to send out for snacks, so that when you're finished, you can load up on some different snacks. Before the meet, you don't want to eat too much. Water's good. Gatorade's okay. If you don't drink too much, stay away from dairy until after the meet. Don't eat too much food. Okay. That's why I try to do as many meets as we're allowed to do, because sometimes people learn, my breakfast that I had did not work for me. A big breakfast is not good for me if I'm running at 9:50, or maybe I need to eat earlier or something like that. Okay. But I'll send that list out, and y'all can sign up. The competition for the meet right now, there's about 70 kids entered, so we have about 30 boys. So we're the biggest team by far. There's, I think, 5 complete teams, and then some other teams that don't have full 5 runners. It's supposed to be a low-key meet. I kind of like it that way. We should do well in terms of awards and whatnot, but our main goal is kind of get our feet wet and kind of see where we are and who's somebody that's really can show out in a meet, and we kind of learn, okay, we went out too fast, or maybe we had too much energy left, because the next week's meet, the next Thursday, is at Hewitt Trustfield. That's a metro meet, and a lot of teams that will be their first meet, but I think it's better to get one more meet before that. When you're done, you can leave. Girls, the race is at 9:20. When you're done, by the time you finish and get your chip and all that other stuff, the boys will be starting. Now, if you've got something to do and you've got to head out, that's understandable. But it would be nice to at least cheer the boys as they're running. But again, as long as your chip's turned in, you can keep the bib, but the chip needs to be turned in to probably Miss Gleason or maybe myself, so that we have all of them. You can just go. Now, this week for practice, the plan is Monday, just Tuesday morning, Wednesday, and Thursday. Not on Friday, because we have a meet the next day, so we're not going to do anything crazy on Friday. Now, if you've looked at the weather, it looks like it's going to rain every single day. So like tomorrow on Monday, it looks like it's going to rain in the morning, and then we hopefully have less less than a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon. So we'll have to just try to practice as much as we can. I don't want to cancel early, but I'll try to cancel by about noon if I see that it's just going to be a gully washer. But we're supposed to get 2 to 3 inches of rain this week in Birmingham. By Friday, we'll be fine. By Saturday, we should be fine. But we need to make sure that we get as much practice in as we can. If you are in the play, you need to make sure that you try to run before you go to play practice, okay? I've had people do that before, and I know that's an issue sometimes is people doing both, and I understand that. That's why you should come to the morning practice if you can, and maybe get a quick 20-minute run in as soon as school's out, and then go. Miss Kincaid's daughter has, Miss Kincaid's son, sorry, ran for me, and he did both, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then lastly, if you have any questions I didn't cover, you can just ask them in the line. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow.